You ever look in the mirror and think, why the hell are my forearms still skinny? You're training hard, hitting biceps, back, chest, doing your rows, your curls, your pull-ups. You feel pumped during the session, maybe even see some veins after your workout. But then you catch your reflection, and your forearms? Still flat, still weak-looking, still not matching the rest of your physique. It's frustrating, like your body's ignoring your hard work. And that's the kind of thing that messes with your head. You start questioning everything. Am I doing something wrong? Is it genetics? Am I just not built for that thick, powerful look? But here's the truth nobody tells you. It's not your genetics. It's how you're training them. See, forearms aren't like your biceps or chest. They don't just grow from being around the action. They're already used to constant low-level work. Holding, gripping, stabilizing. That makes them resistant to change. So if you want real growth, you've got to train them in a smarter, more surgical way. It's not about adding more exercises. It's about doing the right ones, the right way. And let me be honest, most people completely screw this up. Either they skip forearm training altogether, or they throw in some half-assed wrist curls at the end of their workout, with no strategy, no tension, no control. That's like throwing water at a fire hoping it'll build heat. You're not training, you're just going through the motions. But here's the good news. You only need 2 exercises to build solid, thick, and defined forearms. 2. That's it. They're simple, they're effective, and they work if you do them right. Not just going through the reps. I'm talking about understanding the muscle, mastering the movement, and putting your focus exactly where it needs to be. The wild part? You probably already know these moves. Maybe you've even done them before. But if your forearms still look the same, you weren't doing them the way I'm about to show you. Today, we're going deep. Biomechanics, technique, time under tension, everything. I'm giving you the full blueprint to finally make your forearms grow and actually look like you lift. Stronger grip, better aesthetics, more control in your lifts. And yeah, that look where someone sees your forearms and just knows you train. That's what we're chasing. So if you're tired of hiding your arms in long sleeves, if you're ready to finally fix what's been holding you back, stay with me. If this is already hitting close to home, hit that subscribe button. Because what's coming next might just change the way you train forever. Why your forearms aren't growing and it's not lack of effort. Let's get something straight. If your forearms aren't growing, it's not because you're lazy. You're probably training hard, showing up consistently, hitting your sets and reps with decent effort. But when it comes to forearms, effort without strategy is just spinning your wheels. These muscles don't respond like the others. They're on their own frequency. Most guys think that just doing heavy rows, pull-ups, and curls will automatically grow their forearms. And yeah, you'll get some activation, but it's background noise. Forearms in those movements are like the bass player in a rock band, always there, barely noticed. To make them grow, you have to give them the solo. And here's the deeper layer. Forearms are endurance machines by design. Think about it. You use them for everything: gripping your phone, typing, carrying groceries, holding dumbbells, even driving. They're constantly working. So when you train them like you train your biceps, 3 sets of 10, half-focused, they just shrug it off. Been there, done that. What they really need is what most lifters skip: isolation, control, and overload. That means slowing down, controlling the movement, targeting the muscle fibers that rarely get fully activated. It's not sexy, and it's definitely not comfortable, but it works. And that's what separates guys who look strong from guys who actually are strong. There's also a mindset problem. Most people see forearm training as optional, like an afterthought. Something you toss in at the end of arm day if you have time. That's like painting a masterpiece and forgetting to sign your name. Forearms complete the look. They're the final touch that turns good into undeniably trained. And don't forget the grip. Weak forearms don't just mess with your look, they mess with your performance. If your grip gives out during deadlifts, rows, or pull-ups, guess what? Your back and biceps never get fully worked. That means slower progress across the board. Strong forearms don't just look better, they unlock strength everywhere else. But here's where it gets interesting. You don't need 10 different exercises, you don't need weird gadgets or complicated routines. You just need 2 scientifically backed movements, done with insane focus, perfect form, and a level of intensity that most people reserve for their PR attempts. And before we dive into them, you need to understand this. It's not just about adding something new. It's about changing the way you approach your training. Forearms won't grow from more volume. They'll grow from better execution. That's why everything we cover from here on out will be about doing less, but doing it way better. Because once you unlock the right kind of stimulus, the one that hits deep and actually tears the muscle fibers, your forearms have no choice but to respond. And when they do, you'll feel it not just in the mirror, but in every single lift you do from now on. But that's just the setup. Now let's break down the first exercise. And if you've been doing it wrong all this time, it's about to make a whole lot of sense. Exercise 1. The wrist curl. Sculpting inner forearm density and vein-popping thickness. Most lifters treat wrist curls like a throwaway move, something to tack on at the end of arm day with whatever energy's left in the tank. But if you knew how much raw growth potential is packed into this one movement, and how badly most people mess it up, you'd rethink your whole strategy. The wrist curl isn't just a forearm move. Done right, it's a laser-focused attack on the flexor muscles, the thick, ropey fibers on the inner side of your forearm. These are the same muscles that give your arm that vascular, always pumped look. When they grow, people notice, even when your arms are relaxed at your sides. But here's the catch. This movement isn't about how much weight you can hold. It's about how precisely you can control it. That's where 90% of people go wrong. They load up heavy, bounce the weight with momentum, and completely miss the point. The goal isn't to move the dumbbell, it's to make your forearms burn with surgical tension. So, let's fix that. Start by sitting down with a dumbbell in one hand, your forearm resting comfortably on your thigh or a bench. Your wrist should hang just past the edge, free to move, with your palm facing up. That free to move part is key. You don't want the bench or your leg limiting your range of motion. Now, slowly curl the dumbbell up using only your wrist. No shoulder involvement, no bicep cheating. At the top of the movement, pause for 1 full second. Squeeze like you're trying to crush the handle. Then lower it down slowly, taking 2 to 3 seconds to feel every inch of the descent. That's where the growth happens, on the way down. Start with 3 solid sets of 12 to 15 reps. The first few will feel easy. That's fine. You're not here for ego lifts. You're here to fatigue the muscle, to chase the burn. And when you hit that last rep and your forearm is on fire, that's when you kick it up a notch, drop the weight, and go again. Drop set to failure. This is what forces adaptation. This is where change happens. The burn you'll feel isn't just pain. It's activation. It's blood rushing into the muscle, fascia stretching, fibers tearing at a micro level. That's what growth feels like in real time. And if you don't feel that, you're either using too much weight or you're rushing the movement. Common mistakes? Way too many. Holding the weight with your fingers instead of your palm? That shifts the load off your forearm. Curling your shoulder or letting your spine round forward. Now you're cheating and missing the isolation. Remember, the goal is to pin the effort exactly where you want it and hold it there until it screams. The wrist curl, when treated with respect, can completely reshape the look of your arms. It builds that working man muscle, thick, tough, no-nonsense mass that shows through hoodies and sleeves. And when it's paired with the right companion move, that's when your forearms go from overlooked to unstoppable. And speaking of companion moves, the next exercise flips everything. Because while the wrist curl builds the inner forearm, the next one attacks the top side, giving your arms the width, symmetry, and raw power they've been missing. Ready? Exercise 2. The reverse curl. Building top-end forearm power and complete arm symmetry. Most people train biceps thinking that's enough to fill out their arms. But here's the truth. If your upper forearms look flat and your arms lack that solid, well-rounded appearance, it's not because you're missing curls. It's because you're missing reverse curls. The secret weapon for top-side thickness and serious grip strength. While wrist curls fire up the inner forearm flexors, reverse curls light up the extensors, the often neglected muscles that sit on the top of your forearm. When these grow, your arms take on a whole new dimension. They look denser, fuller, and more symmetrical. This is where you get that armored, athletic look. The kind of muscle that doesn't just look good but feels solid when someone grabs your arm. The setup is simple, but the execution has to be tight. Grab a barbell or EZ bar with a pronated grip, palms facing down. Keep your elbows pinned close to your sides, chest up, and core engaged. Now curl the bar toward your shoulders, just like you would with a regular bicep curl. But here's the catch. The movement should come from your forearms, not your biceps. That means controlling the tempo. Squeeze at the top, hold for a second, and slowly lower the bar. If you're just swinging it up and letting gravity take over on the way down, you're wasting your time. The magic, just like with wrist curls, lives in the eccentric phase. That's where the extensors get hammered and where real growth begins. Start with 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. Use a weight that challenges you but doesn't force you to cheat. If your elbows start flaring or your back starts arching, drop the weight. This isn't about ego, it's about control. And when you get that clean, steady burn in the top of your forearms, you'll know you're doing it right. One variation that works wonders, the EZ bar reverse curl. It's easier on the wrists and still hits the extensors with full force. It also helps you maintain better form, especially if you're new to this movement or tend to overcompensate with other muscle groups. The payoff goes beyond looks. Strong extensors protect your elbows, stabilize your wrists, and improve your performance in exercises like deadlifts, rows, and even bench press. Think of it like upgrading your base. Everything stacked on top of it gets better, stronger, and more stable. Most people ignore this part of their forearm because it's uncomfortable, awkward, or unfamiliar. But that's exactly why it works. When you train what others skip, you build what others don't have. And when your forearms pop from both sides, inner and outer, that's when you stop blending in and start standing out. And just when you think you've got the full picture, there's one last tweak that ties it all together. Something small, almost invisible, but powerful enough to accelerate everything. Let's get into it. The power combo. Why these two moves change everything. Now you've seen both sides of the game, the wrist curl and the reverse curl. One sculpts the deep, veiny inner forearm that screams hard work. The other builds the wide, top-end muscle that completes your arm's silhouette. Separately, they're powerful. Together, they're a game changer. Most people stick to random forearm routines that hit everything a little and nothing a lot. But when you commit to just these two and execute them with precision, you're giving your forearms what they've been missing all along: focused, opposing stimulus that activates every angle, every fiber. The wrist curl targets flexion. The reverse curl nails extension. That combination alone creates full circle growth, visual and functional. Your arms start to look thicker, feel stronger, and support bigger lifts across your entire upper body. It's not just aesthetics. It's performance built on purpose. And here's the kicker. It doesn't take an hour-long arm session. Just 3 to 4 focused sets of each movement, twice a week, can deliver more results than most full routines, if, and only if, you're applying the control, time under tension, and intensity we broke down earlier. But don't go anywhere yet, because what I'm about to share next is the bonus tweak that takes all this progress and multiplies it. It's subtle, it's brutal, and it'll turn your forearm training from effective to unforgettable. Let's finish strong. Exercise bonus: the static squeeze. One tweak that changes everything. This bonus move doesn't require new equipment. You don't even need extra sets. But once you add it, everything you thought you knew about forearm fatigue changes. It's called the static squeeze, and it's brutally simple. You finish your final rep, and you don't let go. Instead of dropping the weight at the end of your last set, you hold it, right at the peak of contraction. If it's a wrist curl, you freeze at the top. If it's a reverse curl, you hold at the midpoint. And for the next 15 to 20 seconds, you fight. Every fiber in your forearm starts lighting up. The tension builds. The shake kicks in. And that's exactly what we want. Why does this work? Because traditional reps only activate a portion of the muscle fibers. When you go static, especially under fatigue, you force the nervous system to recruit the deep stabilizers, the ones that usually stay dormant. These fibers don't care how much weight you lift. They care how long you can survive under load. This technique isn't new. Olympic gymnasts have used it for decades to build freakish strength. Rock climbers swear by it to develop death grip endurance. And now, it's your turn to harness it, not just for strength, but for mass, vascularity, and definition. Here's how to implement it. On your last set of wrist curls or reverse curls, after your final rep, hold the weight in position for a count of 20 seconds. Don't rush it. Don't cheat it. Lock in. Focus. Every second should feel like a war. Want to level it up? Add finger tension. Squeeze the bar like you're trying to crush it. This recruits even more of your forearm muscles, especially those responsible for grip endurance and functional carry strength. The static squeeze does something most exercises can't. It teaches your muscles to stay strong while tired. And that's the golden zone. That's where growth happens. When the body wants to quit, but the mind says, one more second. Do this for 2 weeks, and you'll feel it, not just in the gym, but in daily life. Your handshake gets stronger. Your lifts feel more controlled. You hold onto bars longer. And visually, your forearms look harder, fuller, more defined, even when they're not pumped. Most lifters will never do this. They'll finish their reps, drop the weight, and move on. But if you're still reading, if you've come this far, you're not most lifters. You're here to grow. And this simple, savage technique might be the missing link. Now that you've got it all, the strategy, the execution, and the extra edge, let's wrap it up the only way we should, with clarity, purpose, and a challenge. You made it to the end, and that says a lot. Most people won't. Most will keep skipping forearms, keep wondering why their lifts plateau, why their arms don't look complete, why their progress feels stuck. But you just unlocked the part of your body that literally holds everything together. The forearms aren't flashy. They're not the muscle that gets the glory. But when trained right, they change your entire presence. They anchor your lifts. They complete your physique. They send a clear message. This person trains with purpose. And now you've got the full blueprint. 2 battle-tested exercises executed with precision. 1 bonus technique that pushes your muscles past their limits. And a deeper understanding of how growth really works. Not through volume, not through random effort, but through focused tension, consistency, and pain applied intelligently. So don't let this become just another video. Put it into action. Own it. Make your forearm training as serious as your heavy lifts. Because when your forearms grow, your whole game levels up, physically and mentally. What's the one thing you're changing in your training after this? If this video gave you at least one aha moment, drop a like, hit subscribe, and let's keep building this together. And if you're serious about taking control of your gains, rewind this, take notes, and bring it into your next session. The tools are here. The question is, are you really ready to use them?